Hello guys and welcome to my new video. So today I decided to have a look at tank balance for 7.35, basically the Antorus raid. So this is the type of video that I really didn't want to kind of make because there's probably going to be, unlike the healing one that I did for 7.35, I really feel that there's going to be some kind of changes or class changes made to tanks, in particular to the underperforming tanks. And there's possibly going to be a lot of changes before Antorus, so while watching this video, make sure that if you are watching this video when Antorus is released, that there might have been already some changes made. And before actually mentioning the Antorus raid itself, a lot of the information I got is from multiple different articles about tier 21, about class balance and things like that. They're all linked in the description below. These amazing authors put in a lot of time and effort into calculating tier 21s and calculating basically their opinions about the class balance and things like that. And if you want to have a better understanding of how your class tier 21 is working or how it's going to work, please follow the links below and you can read up into the class discords and things like that. And it's really great the amount of effort that they put in, and it seems to be really accurate. So first of all, Antorus raid itself is looking to be quite magic damage heavy. Unlike Tomb of Sargeras, in Tomb of Sargeras there was a lot of heavy melee hits. Like, I mean, we're talking about Kil'jaeden where the tank could be two-shot in like 2 seconds or a second duration. Like, I mean, a tank could just be destroyed from the physical hits. It was just crazy. Antorus is looking a bit different than that. There doesn't seem to be that many heavy melee hits in quick succession. There seems to be a lot more magic damage bursts. So this is going to create a huge disparity between tanking classes, because each of the tanking class, few of the tanking classes are great at magic damage and a lot of them are not. A lot of the tank classes, example, Brewmasters, who are amazing for physical damage reduction, they could take like 20 million hits with stagger and things like that, are not great at magic reduction. So it's going to place a much different ranking for tanks in Antorus, and keep in mind that it is, at the end of the day, my personal opinions as well. So what we know right now, Antorus seems to be magic based. Let's look at Death Knights, the first tanking class. Death Knights were actually quite good or very decent in 7.3. In Tomb of Sargeras, they got buffed a lot, and they made them made Death Knights to be a really good choice for Mythic Plus content, like a really strong choice for Mythic Plus content, and a very decent choice in raids as well. And with the magic damage influence coming in from Antorus, Death Knights are looking to be even stronger. Now, tier 21 itself is not looking to be too great. Tier 21 2 set is okayish. Is okayish at most, and tier 21 4 set is considered to be just outright terrible. And the only reason to actually equip tier 21 4 set would be like item levels. Now another option comes into mind. Actually, while talking about tier 21s in generally seems to be quite bad for tanks. So don't be surprised when I mention that Death Knight is not looking great. Actually, for majority of the classes, tier 21 is not looking great while compared to tier 20. So in this example, Death Knights could go for an option of wearing 4-piece tier 20, which is actually a lot of classes might be looking into that. But the problem with a tier 24 set that right now it's probably equivalent to 20 item levels per piece, and because of how high the item level is going to scale at Antorus, like Antorus gear is going to be pretty high, you most likely will end up wearing tier 21 4 set just because of the high item levels. Now, like I said, Death Knights by themselves are really good at handling magic damage. They provide probably the most required spell in the game for certain bosses, Mass Grip or Gorefield's Grasp, which is like mandatory for a lot of bosses. Let's say for like Mythic Kil'jaeden, when you have to grip the adds and in the shadow phase, that's amazing for that. That's really amazing. So having utility like that is really strong. But the downside of Death Knights is their mobility. Death Knights are probably the most immobile tanking class in the game, or actually, if you look at Death Knights overall, they're probably the most immobile class in the whole game. So you have downsides and you have upsides, but Death Knights are looking really strong for Antorus raid. Now let's look at another strong tanking class, or historically strong tanking class, Guardian Druids. I think there's been very interesting changes made to Guardian Druids. Guardian Druid tier 21 is regarded as really bad. Again, we're coming to the same conclusion that tier 21s are not great for tanks at all. 2-set just basically allows you more freedom with Barskin, but it can even lose out in value when you use different talent choices and actually trying to go for DPS. 4-set increases healing taken after Barskin fades, which at the same time, increasing healing taken is always worse than damage reduction or damage mitigation. Like at the end of the day, getting 2-hitted and dying, increasing in like 2 seconds or like a second, increasing healing is not going to be as good as damage reduction. Damage reduction is actually going to prevent you from actually getting to that point. And also you have to consider that the 4-set, which gives you increasing healing after Barskin fades, it's usually that the danger has passed after using Barskin. So anything after the Barskin duration is probably not really going to be that like it's not really going to kill you or whatever. You're going to be using a cooldown when there's damage incoming, and you're not really gonna care about anything that's happening after the Barskin fades. So there's a lot of internal problems with tier 21. It's regarded as really bad, and there's probably going to be a mixture of some sort of tier 20 being used for Guardian Druids. But regardless of that, and you can also consider the tier has no synergy with existing playstyles, legendaries, or talents, which also makes it quite boring. So at the same time, tier 21 is looking really bad for Guardian Druids, but Guardian Druids are still going to be extremely strong just because of how safe they are. Guardian Druids have a massive HP pool. They have quite good utility with roar and things like that, and overall they're quite easy to play as well. They have a good combination of damage to survivability. Like you can change talents, or you have gear as well to get good damage and survivability combo. It's not really hard to balance that out as a Guardian Druid. They're considered as like the safe tank, and they're most likely going to be considered as a safe tank in Antorus, and a lot of people will probably agree with me with this, even though the tier 21 is looking pretty bad. Now let's look at probably the biggest loser of the tier 21s, well, not tier 21s, basically, of how Antorus is going to turn out: Brewmaster Monks. Brewmaster Monks historically were very strong in Tomb of Sargeras. They could really withstand a lot of melee physical hits. Tier 21 is looking really weird. It's supposed to be great for like Mythic Plus and multi-target fights. It's supposed to be decent or okay-ish, or maybe even bad considering for single target fights where you only have one boss hitting you at all times. A lot of people are actually complaining about tier 21 of basically how it changes Brewmaster rotation. If we actually look at the tier 21 right now, tier 21, when you dodge an attack, you have a 100% chance to reset the cooldown of Breath of Fire. That's the 4-set, and the 2-set is Breath of Fire has 100% chance to generate an additional stack of Elusive Brawler for each target hit. So these changes are going to basically make your rotation Breath of Fire for AoE pulls and for AoE fights or whatever. You'll be spamming 1 billion Breath of Fires. You almost become a single or one button class, which a lot of the Brewmaster Monks are complaining about, because who wants to be a one button class? And that's what the AoE rotation is looking right now. In terms of survivability for Antorus, Brewmasters are not great at magic damage. They're not great at mitigating damage, magic damage. They're amazing at physical, and a lot of people looking at Brewmasters right now, and they will say that they're not looking as the top tier. In Tomb of Sargeras, Brewmasters were top tier tanks. Arguably, Guardian Druids and Brewmasters were one of the most sought after tanking combo in Tomb of Sargeras. If you actually look at the world first kills, and if you actually look at the logs and things like that, the combo was basically Guardian Druids and Brewmaster Monks with Death Knights coming in somewhere there. But right now, Brewmaster Monks are looking on the decline in Antorus. A lot of people saying they do not provide enough utility for the raid. For example, Guardian Druid provides Roar, Death Knight provides Mass Grip. Brewmasters don't really have a strong utility in terms of that. They're not great at magic mitigation. There doesn't seem to be a lot of melee physical hits in Antorus, which is kind of bringing Brewmasters down a lot. By how much, I'm not sure. I can almost guarantee it, or like without any changes happening to Brewmasters, they're not going to be top tier. They're definitely not going to be a top tier tank. They're going to be maybe mid to low tier or somewhere along those lines. So a lot of Brewmasters are actually re-rolling after this. Don't let me scare you. Like I said before, actually I didn't say this before, but I should say it before. This video is based for high-end mythic content, high-end mythic raids and high-end mythic plus content. If you're doing heroic, normals, whatever, it doesn't matter which is the best tank, which is the worst. It really doesn't matter. This is looking at the top tiers. So Brewmaster Monks is not looking amazing. Now we're going to Protection Paladins. So this is very, very interesting changes happening to Protection Paladins. Protection Paladins in Tomb of Sargeras were regarded probably as close to as one of the worst tanks, because basically you could get one shot. I don't mean one shot. No tank basically gets one shot. They get destroyed in like a really, really quick span of time. Like in 1 second you get 2 really consecutive hits that are going to just kill you. And Protection Paladins were really, really known for that. So right now, with the tier 21, is looking extremely, extremely strong. Probably the strongest tier 21 that tank has gotten in Antorus. So tier 21 2-set bonus, you gain Vindicator Shield, increasing your block chance by 10%. Just a flat out 10% increase. And 4-piece, while not affected by Shield of Righteousness, the effect of Vindicator Shield is increased by 100%. This can only happen once every 1 second. So again, and just basically an increase. This basically will allow Protection Paladins to withstand those crazy melee hits that happen in quick succession. You basically won't be one shot or like look like you're getting one shot as a Protection Paladin. So Protection Paladins have become much better at block and parry, so they're much better at physical damage reduction. And on top of that, Protection Paladins are one of the best, or like really, really good tank that deals with magic damage. Mainly because Holy Shield increases your block chance by 15% and allows you to block spells. It allows you to block spells, which is actually insanely strong for Antorus, which Antorus is going to be a lot of magic damage. So right now you have Protection Paladin who can withstand quite heavy melee hits because of tier 21. You also have a Protection Paladin who by default has a very decent, or actually very, very good magic damage mitigation through Holy Shield and things like that. So a lot of people will consider Protection Paladins as a climbing tanking spec. From the low tier, they're climbing up to the possibly the top tier for Antorus, or at least mid tier, mid to top. I would say it's somewhere around there. So all of the people who re-roll from Protection Paladins in Tomb of Sargeras, you can start coming back from Antorus, because in Antorus, Protection Paladins are looking a lot stronger than they did in Tomb of Sargeras. Now let's look at Protection Warriors. Protection Warriors in Tomb of Sargeras were considered again low to mid tier, mid to low tier or whatever. Right now the tier 21 is looking pretty terrible for Protection Warriors. Tier 21 2-set is actually looking really good. It's great for single target DPS. Well, it contributes to single target DPS, rage generation, survivability increase, which is a really decent bonus. The 4-set is not so great at all. There's no real rage generation increase. If there's no rage generation increase, there's no cooldown reduction through anger management, and it's a mediocre tier at best. So a lot of people are considering, it's actually an advice in the warrior class discourse, to actually start using tier 24 set and tier 21 2-set. With tier 21 2-set and tier 24 set, tier 24 set becomes irreplaceable. I kid you not. It becomes irreplaceable. Doesn't matter what item level increase, tier 24 set is there to stay. What does that mean? Like, I mean, straight up, the item level increases you get from Antorus gear, you're not going to take advantage of that, because you're going to be stuck with using tier 24 set. Because of how good it is when combined with tier 21 2-set. So like I said, Warriors were mid to low tier in Tomb of Sargeras. Antorus is looking like a magic, like I said, magic based encounters and raid, the whole raid. Warriors have a decent magic mitigation. Like, they do have spell reflection. Spell reflection, raise a shield, reflect a spell cast on you, and reduce magic damage you take by 30%, which actually is pretty insane and can be really good. You can actually combine this with the legendary legs. Ararat's Blood Mirror, shield block and spell reflection gain 1 additional charge, which can make it even stronger. So you also have things like, so there is a decent magic reduction that's possible for a protection warrior. Whether it's going to be enough to bring them to like the top tiers, I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be like right now. I'm looking at protection paladins, guardian druids, and blood DKs in somewhere along that kind of ranking. Protection warrior is there to climb. Basically. But the problem is that the legendary waist and the legendary ring look like a better combo with the whole tier. So I'm not sure how many times you're going to be using the legendary pants, but we have to see how it works out. Right now, I feel protection warriors are probably still going to be somewhere around mid tier. Maybe spell reflection is going to be absolutely OP for certain fights. It's possible. It's possible that could happen in Antorus, and protection warriors might be one of the best. It's possible that could happen. But I would put them as soon as mid tier right now, just looking at overall things. And right now we're looking at the last tanking class, and a bit of a joke right now, actually talking to the people in the Discord and in the Vengeance Demon Hunter Discord. Everyone's just kind of down about Vengeance Demon Hunters and things like that. Vengeance Demon Hunter 2-set is a 2-set tier 21 is looking decent. If we go back to tier 21 4-set, sorry, I just found it here. When you parry an attack, the cooldown of Metamorphosis is reduced by 5 seconds, which is looking a very strong tier set, or a very strong tier set for 5-mans. Metamorphosis is great for 5-mans. It does have a 5-minute cooldown and things like that, but it's great for 5-mans. For raids, it's like, you know, average, whatever. Like, at the moment, the tier sets are not looking like they're going to be increasing Vengeance Demon Hunter viability by that much in raids. A lot of people who you might ask, Vengeance Demon Hunters are not going to be there for progression. They're just not going to be there for progression. They're not a progression tank. They're most likely not going to be a progression tank for the whole of expansion, because a lot of people will tell you that in order to make Vengeance Demon Hunters to be much more viable, you kind of need to change some of the core mechanics of how the Demon Hunters or Vengeance Demon Hunters actually work. They're just far too spiky. There's not enough utility. There's not enough. The class is not looking great at all. While if you look at 5-mans, Vengeance Demon Hunters are doing really well in 5-mans. They're a very good 5-man class. They output very good DPS, which is largely the reason why they're so good in 5-mans, because of the DPS that they provide. I'm pretty sure you've seen a lot of videos where like 5 Vengeance Demon Hunters soloed like, or did like a 15 Mythic Plus, or 17 or 18 or maybe even 20 Mythic Plus as 5 Vengeance Demon Hunters, because they're having crazy sustain and they have crazy DPS. In raids, that does not translate into raids, which makes Vengeance Demon Hunters again probably the least desirable progression tank, unfortunately, in Antorus. So this has been my overview of the tanking classes in Antorus. Like I said, it is a lot of magic. I probably said this like 10 times or something, but like I said, it's a big thing. Magic damage is looking like a strong component to Antorus. Like I said, please check out the links below, because I've taken out a lot of information from the people, from the authors, from the amazing authors who actually looked into tier 21s and looked into class balance, and I'd like to thank them for like really amazing information. Let me know how you feel about this content. Let me know how you feel about this ranking. Let me know how you feel about the tier 21s. Overall, tier 21s looking pretty terrible, I must say. But like I said, I'm excited to see Protection Paladins getting in there. I'm feeling sad for Brewmaster Monks to some extent. And like I said, everything else is kind of staying the same. But let me know how you feel about the rankings. Let me know how you feel about your tanking class and things like that. And please like, subscribe and things like that. It really helps out the channel a lot. And I'll see you in my next guide.